Good morning and welcome to Warrior Wisdom Wednesday on Coffee with Alain. Going to share a little self-defense tip this morning. Drinking out of a Rocky mug. It just seemed appropriate this morning. Want to thank everybody that joins and comments. Want to thank all of you watching replays, listening to the podcast, whether it's the website, Apple, Spotify, wherever. Thank you to all of you. Do this for you. And I appreciate it if you share with others, comment, do those things to grow the audience so we can help even more people. So I posted this morning on one of my social media pages, a little self-defense tip. Accept this now. If things get real, you might get hurt. Fight anyway. Stay focused. Keep going. Do what you must do, what you need to do to get home safely. And sometimes in training, we have to endure a little bit of pain, little uncomfortableness to prepare ourselves for when it can happen in a real situation. Now, in real situations, when you get the adrenaline dumping and the heat of battle and everything, you won't feel some things as much as you might if you were just sitting there and something happened. I've gone home later and like, oh, wow. And just a big giant knot on the top of my head, really swollen, that I did, and it was hurting, but I didn't realize it at the time I got hit in the bar. I mean, so that can protect you too. I mean, we have that adrenaline dump and that for a reason to get us through the emergency. And then we feel the pain later. But there are times in the situation where it hurts too. And we must fight through it to get to safety. And we can practice that during training. Now, I remember one time in South Korea, I was sparring with my instructor, Lee Jung-gyu. And I threw a kick and he blocked the kick with a shin kick to meet my shin. And it hurt. But, you know, we kept going and had to, fought through it, and you just kept going. Later that night, it was hurting even more because I finished the class, got dressed, went and had to teach. And so I'm on my feet teaching at the Hagwon where I taught at, because I taught in the evenings. And then I went home after 11 o'clock at night and took off my pants to get ready for bed. And from my knee to my toes, my whole leg was black. It was so bruised and black, and especially down around the foot and ankles, all the blood had pooled. And I was like, oh. The next morning, 6 o'clock, I had another Hapkido class. And so I went to Hapkido and I showed my instructor, and he's like, yeah, it's really hurting. And he said, we'll show Kwanjung them. He wasn't there at the 6 o'clock class. He got there a little bit later when he opened up the chiropractic office and different things too. Was back there with him. He went out, and the first thing he saw my leg, he laughed. Sort of a Korean thing to do. And then he's like, yeah, that's fine. And he just laughed. But then he ended up, he took these little suction cup things and needles and started poking the holes and sucking the blood out of my leg and out of where the foot and ankle, where the deepest pools were. And long story short, I was okay. I hobbled around for a while. I mean, it hurt, hobbled around. I got back to normal and things were fine. But one of the keys is when it happened, and it hurt when it happened, I kept going. And so we learn to fight through with our pain and things when we're training so we could actually do it for real. Now, we have to be careful. I'm not saying if you have a serious injury to ignore it and make it worse. I mean, almost a year ago, about 10 months, I hurt my wrist and kept going, not realizing how severe of an injury it was, resulting in the reconstruction surgery that's still giving me problems now. But I didn't realize how serious it was at the time. So we do have to be careful and make sure we get proper medical attention for things that are serious. So we have to weigh, have some common sense with this. We want to train where we can take some bumps and bruises and keep going, because that will be a necessity in a real situation. You get hurt in a real situation, you can't stop. You must keep going to end the threat so you can get home safely and then get to medical attention. But during training, we got to have some common sense, and we don't want to ignore something serious. I mean, I remember one time blowing out my knee years ago. I mean, we stopped immediately when that happened, and because it was serious. It resulted in my first knee surgery. This was way back with the 82nd Airborne Division. So common sense, okay? But do learn and train and get the mindset. And you can actually train and help the mindset through visualization to instill the mindset that you're going to keep going no matter what. I don't care if you're stabbed. I don't care if you're shot. I don't care what happens in a real situation. You must keep going. And one of the keys for that I teach in my active shooter response classes and some of my other self-defense classes is understanding and knowing what you're living for. That might be your faith. It might be your family. I hope some of it is yourself, because you're not done yet. But having a reason to live, a reason to continue, can help you. And so you can develop that mindset now, and it will help you if you ever get into a real situation. So that's a little bit what I wanted to share today. Going to write a little bit about that in this week's newsletter. If you're not getting that newsletter, go to enjoylifesafely.com, sign up, get that newsletter. For a lot more practical self-defense lessons, both mindset and physical skills and things to help you defend yourself, check out the Self-Defense Essentials course that's at enjoylifesafely.com. That course has a lot of different physical things you can learn and the mental aspects, which are so important. There's a guide on mental things there. There's a lot of mental video lessons. So all of that will help you prepare yourself if you ever have to defend yourself. So all of that's available at enjoylifesafely.com. So be sure to check that out and the resources there. Before I go, I want to say good morning to Thad. Thad was here and said good morning. Dixon was here and said ouchie. Yeah, the kick in Korea that turned my leg black, that definitely was an ouchie. And it was so funny that Kwanzaa and Kim Young-jong just sort of laughed, which is a typical Korean instructor thing to do. But it did turn out okay. And he helped the healing by sucking the blood out and using those weird things, because he was a chiropractor and years of Hapkido. He'd probably seen tons of different injuries throughout his years. So, and Dixon also said that's what break falls are all about. Not to an injury from impacting the ground, but to lessen the more damaging possibilities so that you can get up immediately and continue. And that's so true too. We learn to minimize the injuries by learning how to fall when we get thrown or get tripped or just fall down. Break falls have helped me in bicycle accidents. I've talked about that before. They've helped me slipping on the ice and going down and keeping you from getting injured. So yeah, we train to minimize the injuries that happen to us, but they do happen. And they happen in training. They happen in real life. In real life, we can't let them stop us, because we have to stop the threat and get home, regardless of the injuries that we take at that time. And that's the most important mental part of this that you need to develop, is the mental attitude that you will continue no matter what. And if you determine why, it could be your faith, your family, yourself, a larger cause, things that you're just not done with yet, whatever, having that reason will help you drive on in the toughest times. And we have to develop that mental attitude, because that will see us through in the worst. Yes, we want to avoid the worst. I don't ever want you to get into an actual confrontation. I hope my awareness lessons and avoidance lessons, but in the chance that something happens, we have to see it through, stop the threat, get home safely. Be sure to check out enjoylifesafely.com. Lots of good resources there. Check out that Self-Defense Essentials course. There are lessons on the mindset necessary to get home safe, as well as physical skills to help you do so. Make it a wisdom-filled Wednesday. I'll be back to see you tomorrow.